Right now, as you're watching this video, there's a good chance you're checking your phone, thinking about tomorrow's deadline, or mentally reviewing that conversation from 3 hours ago. You function perfectly in the world, maybe even excel, but inside feels like a storm that never quite settles. High-functioning anxiety is the silent epidemic nobody talks about. It's the overachiever who can't sleep, the perfectionist who's never satisfied, the person everyone relies on, who's quietly drowning. Today, we're breaking down every single symptom that defines this invisible struggle, and I guarantee you'll recognize yourself in at least half of these. Symptom 1, the perfectionist prison. Let's start with the big one, perfectionism, that goes way beyond wanting things done well. With high-functioning anxiety, good enough doesn't exist in your vocabulary. You'll spend 2 hours on an email that should take 5 minutes, rewriting it until every comma feels justified. This isn't about being detail-oriented. This is about the crushing fear that anything less than perfect equals complete failure. You know that voice that says, "They'll think you're incompetent if you make one mistake"? That's high-functioning anxiety talking, and it's exhausting to live with that standard every single day. The cruel irony, your perfectionism often produces amazing results, which means everyone around you thinks you've got it all figured out. Meanwhile, you're internally combusting over a typo from last Tuesday. Symptom 2, overthinking everything into oblivion. Your brain is like a browser with 47 tabs open, and 3 of them are playing music you can't identify. Every conversation gets analysed like it's a crime scene. Did they pause too long before saying sure? What did that emoji really mean? Why did they word it that way? You replay scenarios that haven't even happened yet. Tomorrow's meeting becomes tonight's 3-hour mental rehearsal, complete with backup plans for backup scenarios you'll probably never encounter. Sleep becomes impossible because your mind treats bedtime like brainstorming hour. This mental gymnastics routine would win Olympic gold if overthinking were a sport, but instead, it just wins you midnight anxiety sessions and the special talent of turning simple situations into complex puzzles that don't need solving. Symptom 3, the people-pleasing performance. You've mastered the art of being what everyone needs you to be. At work, you're the reliable one. With friends, you're the supportive one. With family, you're the one who keeps everything together. But who are you when nobody's watching? High-functioning anxiety turns you into a chameleon, constantly adjusting your personality to avoid conflict or disappointment. You say yes when you mean no, agree when you disagree, and smile when you're screaming inside. The fear of letting people down becomes stronger than your own needs. You've become so good at reading rooms and managing other people's emotions that you've forgotten how to honour your own. Every relationship becomes a performance where you're simultaneously the actor, director, and critic. Symptom 4, physical symptoms nobody connects to anxiety. Here's what people don't realise about high-functioning anxiety. It lives in your body just as much as your mind. Your shoulders carry tension, like they're hoisting the world. Headaches become your unwelcome daily companion. Your jaw aches from clenching teeth you didn't even realise were tight. Your stomach becomes a weather vane for stress, churning before important events, or when life feels uncertain. Sleep quality suffers, even when you finally fall asleep. You wake up tired despite getting 8 hours, because your body never truly relaxed. These physical symptoms are real, not imaginary, but they're often dismissed because you look fine on the outside. Your body is keeping score of every worried thought and stressful moment, even when your mind tries to push through. Symptom 5, the productivity addiction. Being busy isn't just your default mode, it's your drug of choice. Empty time feels dangerous because it leaves room for worry to creep in. So you fill every moment with tasks, goals, and projects. Your to-do list has a to-do list. You measure your worth through output. Good day equals productive day. Bad day equals wasted day. Rest feels like laziness, and relaxation triggers guilt. You've convinced yourself that staying busy means staying in control, but really, you're running from the discomfort of stillness. This productivity obsession makes you incredibly effective, which is why high-functioning anxiety often goes unrecognized. Success becomes your mask, but underneath, you're exhausted from the constant motion. Symptom 6. Catastrophic thinking patterns. Your brain has a PhD in worst-case scenarios. A delayed text becomes evidence of relationship problems. A work critique becomes proof you're about to be fired. A physical symptom becomes a serious medical condition in your mind before you can even get to a doctor. You don't just think about what could go wrong, you plan for disasters that have a 0.01% chance of happening. Your emergency preparedness would impress survival experts, but it's mentally draining to constantly live in crisis mode. This catastrophic thinking feels protective, like you're preparing for problems before they happen. But really, you're creating anxiety about situations that exist only in your imagination. Symptom 7. The comparison trap that never ends. Social media becomes torture when you have high-functioning anxiety. Everyone else seems to have life figured out, while you're struggling with decisions that should be simple. Their successes highlight your insecurities. Their confidence emphasizes your doubt. You compare your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, forgetting that you're seeing their curated version while living your unfiltered reality. Success loses its sweetness because there's always someone doing better, achieving more, or looking happier. This comparison isn't casual observation. It's a full-time job that pays in self-doubt and dissatisfaction. Symptom 8. Decision paralysis despite being decisive at work. You can make complex business decisions with confidence, but choosing a restaurant for dinner becomes an hour-long internal debate. The bigger the personal stakes feel, the harder decisions become. What if you pick wrong? What if there was a better option? What if this choice somehow ruins everything? You research decisions to death, seeking the perfect choice that doesn't exist. Menu browsing becomes a strategic mission. Vacation planning turns into a part-time job. Simple choices feel weighted with disproportionate consequences. Meanwhile, at work, you make decisions quickly because the framework is clear and the consequences feel manageable. Personal life doesn't come with performance metrics, which makes everything feel scarier. Symptom 9. Emotional regulation that requires constant management. Your emotions feel like they need constant supervision. Anger gets pushed down because it doesn't fit your image. Sadness gets scheduled for more convenient times. Joy gets dampened by worry about when it will end. You've become an expert at emotional management, but not emotional processing. Feelings get organized, filed away, and dealt with later, except later never comes. You maintain composure in crisis, but fall apart over minor inconveniences when you're alone. This emotional regulation takes tremendous energy, leaving you drained from managing feelings that should be allowed to exist naturally. Symptom 10. The imposter syndrome that never leaves. Despite evidence of competence, you feel like you're fooling everyone. Success feels accidental. Praise feels undeserved. Accomplishments get attributed to luck, timing, or anything except your actual ability. You wait for the moment when people realize you don't know what you're doing, even though you clearly do. This imposter syndrome creates constant pressure to prove yourself, leading to overwork and underconfidence. The higher you climb professionally, the further you feel you have to fall when people discover you're fake. But the truth is, this feeling itself proves how much you care about doing well. Symptom 11. Relationship anxiety that masquerades as caring. You worry constantly about your relationships, but not in romantic ways movies show us. You analyze text tones, worry about being too much or not enough, and constantly gauge other people's moods to adjust your behavior accordingly. Every relationship becomes a puzzle to solve rather than a connection to enjoy. You give endlessly to prove your worth, then worry you're being used. You seek reassurance, but don't trust it when you get it. This hypervigilance in relationships comes from anxiety, not intuition, but it's hard to tell the difference when you're living it. Symptom 12. The Sunday scaries that start on Friday. Weekend anxiety hits differently when you have high-functioning anxiety. Instead of celebrating the end of the work week, you start dreading Monday before Saturday even begins. Sunday becomes a day of mourning for the weekend that's ending, rather than enjoying the time you have. This anticipatory anxiety steals present moments. You can't enjoy vacation because you're already worried about returning to work. You can't relax during time off because your mind is already Monday morning. Now let's talk about breaking the cycle. Recognition is the first step toward change. High-functioning anxiety thrives in secrecy, hiding behind success and competence. But acknowledging these symptoms doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. You don't have to choose between success and peace of mind. You don't have to earn rest through exhaustion or prove your worth through constant achievement. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is absolutely nothing. The world needs your talents, but it also needs you to be okay. Your worth isn't determined by your output, your perfectionism, or your ability to make everyone else comfortable. You matter because you exist, not because of what you accomplish. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content about mental health and personal growth. Your support helps us reach more people who need to hear these messages. Let me know in the comments which symptom hit closest to home for you, or share your own experience with high-functioning anxiety. Sometimes just naming what we're going through helps us feel less alone in it. And if you enjoyed learning about the hidden aspects of psychology, make sure to check out my last video about 10 common dreams and their meanings. It's fascinating how our subconscious mind communicates with us, even while we sleep. Remember, seeking help isn't giving up, it's growing up. You deserve to feel as good on the inside as you appear on the outside.